They don't think they could get all their work done if they didn't take these drugs.
They're setting themselves an impossible standard.
Not only is your health at risk, but your finances are at risk as well.
It's been suggested that 1 in 10 university students are misusing prescription drugs like modafinil to get them through their studies. So I want to find out just why students are using study drugs. Are you aware of an increase in the use of study drugs?
So we definitely, over about the last 5 years, noticed more people coming in having had side effects, maybe anxiety that wasn't going away after a day or two, feeling sick, palpitations, things like that. And obviously they were quite worried about that. So they would come in and see the GP. We hadn't seen that before. But I've also been aware of, when I asked the students that I was looking after just whether they were taking them just for interest, I wanted to know maybe how much people are using these things. I was definitely aware of more people using them, but not seeing it as an issue.
What are some of the pressures that you perhaps have identified students coming to you with or talking about in regards to then seeing study drugs as a solution?
So I've definitely noticed over the last few years students feeling under much greater pressure when they come to university. Those can be academic pressures, they can be financial pressures, it can be to do with relationships, leaving home, leaving family. So it's a really challenging time when you come to university, move away from home often, or can be commuting from home. The idea that somebody might be able to offer you something that made life a bit easier, made you, helped you in some way to get a higher mark, I can see that that would appeal, the idea, the concept. Obviously, the reality is that study drugs, actually smart drugs even they're called, don't make you smarter. They actually can just help you in terms of staying awake for longer, or possibly helping you to focus on repetitive, boring tasks. So they are not going to actually help you get a higher mark. But I can understand that in a world where 1 in 2 people now goes to university, many more people have a degree, that's what you feel like you're competing against, and that 1 in 4 of those graduates now get a first. You know, I can really understand why students are feeling that pressure. The worry for me is that they're setting themselves an impossible standard. They're trying to live up to something that isn't actually possible, and therefore they're going to just drive themselves harder and harder to get a better degree in their eyes, when actually taking the study drugs or smart drugs isn't going to make any difference to that at all.
I want to find out more about the usage of modafinil, so I'm off to speak to Professor Barbara Sahakian. Modafinil is banned in sports, but there are some who would argue that it should be tested in an academic environment as well. So where is the line drawn when it comes to an unfair advantage?
People have different opinions about this. I mean, there are some philosophers and ethicists who think that our job as people is to enhance ourselves so we can be as productive as we possibly can be, and maybe think up new inventions or discoveries to make the world a better place. And other people, of course, feel that, you know, if you're in a competitive situation like you would be for an exam, then that's cheating.
Your research has looked into people's attention and what causes that to dwindle as well. Do you think as a society there are markers which demonstrate why more people are drawn to taking unapproved forms of enhancement to help them to focus?
Because we have to attend to our emails and our texts, and then we're doing several jobs at the same time, we're switching very rapidly between different devices and jobs and things like that. And with this ability to switch very rapidly, we lose the ability to really hold our focus and stay in the flow and get the job done.
The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency ensures the safety of medical equipment and medicine throughout the UK. So I've come to find out about some of the hidden dangers of buying study drugs online. When modafinil is sold illegally online, it's difficult to know exactly what's in it. So can you tell me about some of the dangers users are facing?
Well, the problem with buying a medicine, any medicine, online from an unregulated site is you have no idea what you're getting. You don't know where it's been manufactured, how it's been manufactured, what the active pharmaceutical ingredient is, whether there's any, whether there's too much, whether it's the right one. So all of these types of things you've got to take into consideration. You have no idea. You're kind of playing Russian roulette, really, with your health.
What are some of the risks that users face when they buy modafinil from unsafe websites?
Well, the problem with buying a medicine, any medicine, online from an unregulated site is you have no idea what you're getting. You don't know where it's been manufactured, being sold on the criminal market. And one of the interesting statistics is that about 18 to 20% of that time, the credit card we use is then used for fraudulent transactions straight after. So not only is your health at risk, but your finances are at risk as well.